So if you're interested in playing around with Bosch ME2.0 and 2.1 ECUs and possibly getting a used one to virginize to play around with and possibly change the engine maps which are in that flash memory there, this might be relevant to you. So this Motorola microcontroller that I've removed from this location here actually stores the DAS information and I believe the coding for the car as well. You would have seen people talking about these UPA USB V1.3s. This is one that is purchased from AliExpress. It's a knockoff, it's not the real deal. Their quality is sketchy at best. I actually had to buy two of them before I got one that worked, using parts from both of them because neither of them worked by themselves. The first one I bought, the serial interface IC on the USB board, I should say USB interface IC, is completely dead. Computer doesn't even detect it when it's plugged in. I have replacement chips on the way. I will change that over and hopefully get that board working as a good spare. The second device that I bought, the bottom board, worked once and then it died. I noticed that this IC here had been reworked, so it had probably been sent back after being rejected by the person that bought it before me, and they must have fixed it. Of course, being Chinesey, it has had all of the markings sanded heavily off that IC. I have no idea what it is, so I probably will never be able to fix this. And the other one that I've got is sanded as well, so I have got no idea what that IC is, so I can't even find any information on it online. The other thing to watch out for is these adapters that come with these Chinesey kits. This one that is specifically supposed to be for this microcontroller, the MC68HC11E9, although MB, or Bosch I should say, don't actually have that number on there. It's just known as the 4E28B. The adapter's not laid out correctly. They haven't got the traces going in the right way. TX and RX, I believe, are swapped around. So as long as you've got the reference manual to the real UPA USB, you can work it out yourself with these generic wires and fix the crappy mistakes made on this thing. I did change the crystal from 4 to 6 megahertz just as part of my troubleshooting procedure before I realized the utterly stupid mistake that was on that PCB with its layout. I have my vintage Pentium 4 PC running Windows XP here, which is working quite nicely with this software. I've got that microcontroller selected and I've got it set to 6 megahertz. I can just go ahead and read that now. And you can see that's working perfectly fine. So if I went ahead and saved this software and then I saved this binary, I should say, and then opened it up in the ECU editor or clear program to virginize it, I could go ahead and do that. Or I could probably copy the contents from another one onto this one and vice versa. But yeah, that's not the point of this video. The real point of this video is just a warning about these crappy devices. On AliExpress, you get what you pay for, I guess. The real UPA USB from the original designer, I think, is like $500, which I think is a bit rich personally. That's why I went with these Chinesey $20 clones. But yeah, you get what you pay for. There are other alternatives for reading and writing these things. Not sure of any off the top of my head. I do have an RS-232 version programmer, which is even more old school than this. That's going to be a lot more reliable in my opinion, because it looks like it's actually built properly. yeah, or you can just go ahead and get the real UPA USB. If you're doing this kind of stuff professionally, these ECUs are pretty old school. Most of these cars are going to the crusher now, so I can't see any point setting yourself up to do this. This is just a hobby for me. And if you're interested in playing with the tunes on this ECU, you don't have to desolder that IC. The also Chinesey knockoff KES V2 can read and write the maps off these ME2.0 and 2.1 ECUs either via the 38-pin connector in the engine bay, in my case, because my car doesn't have an OBD2 port, or I just had this ECU on the bench with a bench power supply set to 12 volts and wired it up as per the manual, and yeah, works fine. So I've backed up this map on this experimentation ECU. I've backed up my own. Yeah, and you don't actually have to desolder that microcontroller. That's just me being a bit, I don't know, over the top. What people normally do is solder directly to the legs, or not even do that. They actually use IC clips directly to the legs of that microcontroller and lift a couple of the pins or a few of the pins to actually get this device to work with it. And then you can virgin your ECU and set it up with your star diagnostics like a new one, I guess. I do have star diagnostics on the way. So that's something else for me to learn about, but yeah, this is educational in itself. It's a shame they can't build these things right, and as with anything cheap and Chinesey, the build quality is absolutely atrocious. It looks like it's been soldered together by a 6-year-old, and the harsh reality is it probably was.